All right, guys, we are recording. We are officially starting week 5 of Earn the Fit, officially over halfway, which is pretty amazing. And this week we're going to be talking about coaching. So, me, Katrina Anderson, Anya Fost, we are putting this program together. It's called Earn the Fit, which FIT stands for Family Incentive Trip, to help our teams earn the incentive. So, like I said, we're going to be talking about coaching tonight, and I'm going to let Katrina Anderson take it away.
Yay! Super nervous to go first, guys. Just so throwing that out there for everybody who's ever nervous to go live. Your directors are nervous too. It's normal. Tonight, I'm going to be talking to you guys about, I have my notes, so sorry if I look down. I'm going to be going over expectations of a leader and also time management, which I know we all need help with time management sometimes, right? So first things first, you guys have to understand there's a difference in being someone's boss and being a leader. And so what a boss is someone who just tells someone what to do and kind of leaves them out to dry. And we don't do that on our team at all. A leader is someone who shows you what you need to do and does it too. Is my connection bad? Am I good? Not breaking up? Okay, it's choppy on my end, that's why, for me. Sorry. So yeah, we don't sponsor people and just leave them hanging. We don't like sign them up and like pump them up and then like, boom, you're on your own. Leaders do not do that. We just don't do that on this team. So a few things that a leader is a leader knows what they're talking about. And they ask for help when they need it, when they don't know what they're talking about. So if someone comes to you and they ask you a question about something, you don't have to know the answer. None of us know all the answers. It's knowing where to find those answers and knowing who to go to find those answers, and then pointing that person in the right direction. It's not looking things up for someone. It is showing them this is how you find the answer. So we're not being nasty when you ask a question and we say, oh, that's on the workstation. I mean, I'll tell my girls, like, and I'm sure Whitney and Anya do this too, like, we'll tell you what tab to click on, or we'll tell you like what to type in the search bar, because sometimes some things are a little bit tricky on what words to use that you will learn as you progress in your career. But like I said, you'll learn. So you don't need to know everything. So don't think that you need to know everything at all, because none of us do. A leader also uses, this is a big pet peeve of mine, so don't laugh at me, but a leader in this business uses correct terminology. We sell warmers, we do not sell burners. We melt wax, we do not burn wax. You got testers in your starter kit, you did not get samples. The reason why some of those things are a big pet peeve of mine is because if you call your testers a sample, someone thinks that they get to keep it, and you want those back. And we don't call them wax burners, and we don't burn wax because that sounds very negative. We don't. We warm wax, we melt wax in a warmer, because a burner, that makes someone think that they're gonna hurt you. And so you just use the correct words, I promise. So if I correct you ever on the team page, like, it's not me being ugly, it's just, I want you to use the right words. A leader also knows the comp plan, because one of the biggest things that we get asked all the time from our front line and our downline is questions about being paid at title and how much they need to promote. And for you to know those things, it's good to know those things off the top of your head, but I always just have a copy of it on me. I know Whitney has a laminated copy. I'm working on that, getting mine laminated, but like, I always have a copy on my phone. I always have a copy in my binder. Like, I have a comp plan almost immediately accessible whenever anyone asks me a question. you also need to know for yourself how much you need to be paid a title and how much you need to promote. So understanding the comp plan, especially when payday hits, and I have had girls who've had these crazy paychecks, and they look at their paycheck and they don't realize that they get the big number. They think that they just get the number next to where it says PRE. No, girl, you got the big number, the one with the comma. That's your paycheck. And some people just don't know that. So learn your comp plan. What else? A leader also sets the example sets the standard by leading by example and leading from the front. I feel like the best compliment that you can ever give your leader is telling them that they set the standard. And I know I tell Whitney that all the time, especially in our SSCs group, because it's true. She has set the standard for Simply Grace and Grit. We know what is expected of us because she does it. And it goes the same thing for Wildflower Warriors and Empowering Sense. Like, we're never going to ask you guys to do something that we haven't already done or that we aren't currently doing. So by setting the standard and leading by example, that's like the best thing you can do as a leader. And it's okay if you fail, because it just means you just need to try a different way. If you don't show up, if you don't comment, if you don't sponsor, if you don't party, if you don't participate on the team page, your team won't. So that's why we always tell you guys, I have like a rule, like in my head, at least in my head, it's not a rule, but on my team page, do not like stuff if you can't comment on it. Don't like it. Just keep scrolling. I would rather you not comment if you're just gonna like something. Because if you just like something, your team isn't going, they're just gonna like it too. They're not gonna comment. If you're not booking parties, your team's not gonna book parties. If you're not sponsoring, your team's not gonna sponsor, and you're gonna stay stagnant in your business, and you're not gonna grow. And they're not gonna grow either. A leader also says yes to anything. Let me finish. Oh, I see Whitney's face. A leader says yes to anything that their leaders ask them to do. So if my director asks me to go live on her page and talk about something, as much as I don't want to go live, I'm going to do it. If my SSC asks me to make a post about how I'm booking parties, I'm going to do it. Even though there's thousands of consultants in her group, I'm going to do it. And also, a leader shouldn't be asked. They shouldn't have to be asked to do those things. A leader just does them. It's okay. All of our team pages are for everyone. Everyone. It is not just for us to post on them as your leaders. It's for y'all to post on it too. A leader offers trainings and coaching calls. It's not up to you if they don't want to accept it. All that you can do as a leader is to do your due diligence in offering your team meeting, offering your trainings, and offering your coaching calls. If they don't take you up on it, you have done your part. Do not stress over it. And I speak from experience. I have had people who I've wanted so badly to coach, and they just don't want it. And I've wasted so much energy. And it's a really hard pill to swallow, but once you do swallow it, it's kind of freeing, because it's like, well, they don't want my help, but I'm still offering it every single month. Every single month. I'm still I let people know when my team meeting is every month. Does everybody show up for it? No. But I can tell you this, I see the people that do show up. I know how many people are on this training, and I make a list. I see who's on here, and I know who's not. And to me, that's important, because leaders show up. And I don't know who said it, but you have to show up to go up. Plain and simple. You got to show up. Otherwise, you're just going to stay stagnant. Oh, and a leader also knows when it comes to trainings, a leader knows that it's not about how you like to train people. It's about how they like to be trained. It's just like with your love language. My love language is gifts. But like Anya's love language isn't gifts. It might be words of affirmation. So me sending her a box of cookies isn't as meaningful as sending her a handwritten thank you card for always sharing on the team page. You know, like if that's her love language. So finding out how, it's the same thing for training and coaching. So if someone works better seeing you face to face, or if you prefer to do FaceTime trainings, but someone else, it makes them super uncomfortable and they would rather just talk to you on the phone to do their coaching call without doing video, you have to be okay with that as a leader. You have to be, because that coaching call isn't for you, it's for them. And the last thing for expectations is a leader sets boundaries, also known as team hours. Not accepting negativity on your team page or in your life in general, to be honest. And also recognizes what they want repeated. So if you don't want negativity on your team page, for example, do not feed into it. Do not recognize it. Delete it and move on. I speak from experience. Do not feed into the drama. But also when it comes to boundaries, is a leader respects other people's boundaries too. It's like a swinging door. So that's all I had for expectations. So going from setting boundaries, that kind of segues very nicely into time management. Your time is super precious, and your family time should always come first. Your PRV, your business should come first. When it comes to time management with your team, it's very important to stay organized and stay focused. And so some of the best tips for that is plan out your day the night before. Write down 2 or 3 things that you know you need to get done, no matter what it is with your business, because we all have the same 24 hours in a day. It's the same. We're all busy. Someone always has something going on. And like I said before, a leader doesn't accept excuses and doesn't make excuses either. So I forgot to mention that. A leader does not make excuses. Do not tell me that you didn't get paid at title because so-and-so wasn't active. Do not tell me that you didn't get paid at title because, well, someone said that they were going to join, but they didn't. You should be overcompensating so you're not relying on the same people every month. Make your family time and your Scentsy time the same thing. And I know that to some people might be like, well, no, my family time is very important to me. It's very special to me. I'm not telling you to only focus on Scentsy, but I'm telling you there are so many different things that you can do in your business that you can include your family on, that you can include your kids or your spouse or your pets, going live with them, making your samples, all of those things, doing mail outs. Like half the time I don't even do my mail outs, my kids do them. They love putting the tape on and the stamps and the stickers, and we buy the self-sealing envelopes that you just rip the thing off. So like Grayson can do that, he's 4. Like you know, my oldest likes to pick out the washi tape to decorate them. I get her input on that stuff all the time. Get your family involved with your Scentsy business, go live with them. That way your customers and your team even are seeing that it's not just you. They're seeing that if this is a family thing. Working doesn't have to always look like working. Working your business, that's what's so cool about Scentsy, is when I'm working, half the time it doesn't even look like I'm working. In the beginning, it used to cause some arguments with my husband because he always thought that I was just on Facebook. I'm like, well, no, actually, I'm following up with a customer. I'm putting in orders, and I just made $100. Like, like, our work doesn't look like work all the time. So just remember that, like, you might be doing things already that you don't even realize is work, but it is because it's so fun. And that's how it should be. Scentsy should be your happy place. It should be what you look forward to do every day, not what you have to do. Remember, we talked about mindset last week. I get to do this. I don't have to do it. I get to do it. Stay organized, whether it's with a planner or digitally on your phone, some Post-it notes on your wall. I don't care. Stay organized. If you have to set an alarm on your phone, do it. Set an alarm. So many people, you will hear it said time and time again that this business can very easily be worked in 15-minute increments throughout the day. Absolutely 100%, but you have to stay focused. So when you set that alarm on your phone, make it to where your phone automatically goes into airplane mode and no one can call you, nothing. Like, the do not disturb feature on cell phones is a godsend, because how many times you go to like look something up on your phone and then the next thing you know, you're on TikTok or you're on Facebook or you're on Instagram, and it's like 10 minutes later and you're like, I just wasted time. I don't even know what I was looking for, a recipe. Like, no. If those 3 things that you have planned out for the day, if you don't get to one of those things, it's okay. But make sure that you make that one thing that you didn't get to do, make sure that's priority number 1 tomorrow. Do the harder things first, because otherwise you're just going to keep putting it off and keep putting it off, and that's going to make you hate what you do. And none of us want anyone to hate what they do. We all love what we do. That's why we do it, right? Be intentional with your time and multitask if you can. So I listen to trainings in the shower. It's like a joke on my team, like, who did you shower with today? Like, I showered with Chastity Robinson. I showered with Whitney Hebel. Like, I bought a little $5 Bluetooth speaker at Five Below, and my daughter's laughing at me. I put it on in my shower and I listen to them. You can find a 20-minute, 30-minute training, take a shower and listen to it. Otherwise, what are you doing? Like, I don't ever want to hear that you don't have time to listen to trainings, because as a leader, you should always be coachable and be willing to learn things. So listen in the car. If you have a long commute in the morning, I was going to say take your kids to school, but nobody's doing that. When you're doing the dishes, folding laundry, doing some kind of tedious task, making samples. There is no reason that you shouldn't have a training on when you're making samples. No one needs to use their brain to make samples. Like, it's such a tedious task. It's so tedious that some leaders actually find people and pay them to make their samples. I'm not on that level yet, but if I'm making samples, I'm like, it's watch TV or listen to a training. Well, which one's going to stimulate my brain the best? That's what Ray Ray says. Find something that stimulates your brain, that's going to help you grow as a person. And it doesn't even have to be Scentsy related. It can be on being a better parent, on being a better mom. Just find something to stimulate your brain. Do coaching calls in the car. If you only have time from your drive from work to home to do coaching calls, then that's what you need to do on that commute. Do your coaching call. Do your coaching calls after the kids go to bed so you don't have any distractions, so you can be a more effective leader. Cut the fluff. Whitney says it all the time. Cut the fluff. Focus on IPAs, income producing activities. Samples are not income producing activities. If your PRV sucks, you shouldn't be making samples, period. I'm almost done, I promise. When all else fails, work your business in 15-minute increments. Schedule your posts on your team page and your VIP page. Do you really think that we're all up at 7, 8 o'clock in the morning posting these great motivational posts? No, we're not. We post them on typically on a Sunday, right, girls? On a Sunday. We take about an hour out of our day and we schedule out all the things. I try to do them a week at a time, but there's certain things that I know that I can plan out for the rest of the month. And it's the same thing in my VIP page. I've got something going every single day. It makes you consistent to your customers and to your team. And the last thing is always, always, always be transparent and communicate with your family and your team when you are working. When I first joined, my husband was deployed, thankfully, because if he saw how much I focused on it in the beginning, he would have been like, what are you doing? When he got home and he realized like, oh, this is serious business for her. In the beginning, it kind of frustrated him, but I learned very quickly that I needed to communicate with him like, hey, this is what I'm doing. And now he's deployed in another country and he knows. When he asked me the other day, he said, when is the best time for me to call you? Because I feel like every time I call you, you're working on something. And so now I save my tedious tasks like making samples and doing mail outs and things like that for when he calls me, because I know that I can have a conversation with him and stuff envelopes and make samples. I also have a spouse though who is very involved, and I will share my screen with him and pull up numbers, and he loves to see where everybody is on the team, and he shouts them out on the page too, halfway across the freaking globe, and he's like, hey, I see you. And when I say be transparent and communicate with your team, I mean that we all have rough months, rough days. It's okay. Say that to your team, because sometimes they need to hear that like, oh, she doesn't like, it's not easy for her. Please don't ever think that this is easy for anybody and that we just blink and we have PRV and people just miraculously join our teams. Everyone has bad days and it's okay, but it's not okay to stay that way. I literally just told someone on my team that today. Her sponsor shouted her out for being active, and she was like, yeah, it sucks. It was so late in the month and I've been beating myself up over it. And so I told her, full transparency, I just got active today. Your director, I just got active today because it's not been a great month for me. I'm fixing it and I'm working on it, but my team also knows that because my business isn't straight right now, that's why we're not scheduling coaching calls right now, because I need to focus on me. It's okay to do those things as long as you are transparent and you communicate with your team. I promise you, they will respect you more for that, and it makes them feel like, okay, she's just like us. Like she's having a bad month, and we all have bad months. It's okay. But like I told her, I said, it's okay to not be okay. It's just not okay to stay there. So that was it. I'm sorry I talked for a really long time.
No, that's
I don't know who's up next.
No, that's awesome. That's awesome. Thank you so much. Anya, you gonna take it away? Unmute you.
All right. So today I have the importance of training and leading. And at first I was kind of like, I mean, duh. You have to lead your people, right? And train them. But I know that doesn't always come naturally for people. And so when I started thinking about it, I started thinking about, like, this take me way back, y'all, like kindergarten. When the kindergarten teacher told my mom, like, you're going to have to rein her in because she's a natural leader, okay? AKA, like, I was telling everybody all the stuff, all right? So, like, it kind of took me back to there. And I'm like, ooh, okay. So what Katrina said was really good. Like, you being bossy, you telling people what to do, that's not you leading. That's so different. You have to understand that's not the same thing. Like, you are a leader, you are not their boss, right? So leading is about, it's inspiring your people. It's motivating them. It's being with them through the good, the bad, the ugly. I mean, it is you being there. And if you're not naturally a positive person, figure it out. Like that, you got to figure it out. You're going to have to pull some positivity somewhere. I don't even know, but like, start praying now because you need it, because it's not easy to always be positive. It's not. For me, I'm lean more towards positivity than negativity, but not everybody does. But you can't just sit there and like let your team harp on these negative things, right? So it's about working together. Leadership is about the people. Being a boss is, you need to do this, 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 and this. Good luck. Leading them is being in the trenches with them. Like, you have to be able, like Katrina said, love languages. You have to meet your people on their level. Like, you have to. You can't just be all business all the time, right? I mean, I'll tell you, the other day, Gary messaged, I was like, hey girl, like, we're doing this Anchored in Leaders. I messaged all my leaders, where are you at? And she's like, oh, I got on for a minute. My kids are sick. And I was like, skirt, pause the business talk. Like, what's going on, right? Because it's not just about the numbers. It's not just about the money. It's not just about, hey, you need to do X, Y, and Z. No, like, you're my person and I need to take care of you and talk to you and know what's really going on in your life. Like, you're not just a number to me. Yes, kids had staff. Like, no, let's talk, because I know you need me to talk to you. Like, let's talk. We're friends, you know, connect with your people. So I will tell you this, you can be a leader without a team. So some of you, you don't have people yet. You're still a leader, and you can be, if you don't think you are, you can be a leader. You need to turn on those leadership traits, right? If they're not even your people, shout them out. Hey, oh my gosh, Laura posted this great thing on Facebook, shout her out. Like, you don't have to just sit there. Like, that's important. And it's important to cultivate those things even before you have people that are on your team. Start working on those things. Why not? Why would you not start working on those and making those habits now? Okay. The other thing is, this is huge. One, you'll never ever be ready to lead. Like, I'm just gonna throw it out there. Like, you ain't gonna be ready. It's like having a baby. I told you before, if someone was like, Anya, you're pregnant with your fourth kid, I'd probably fall on the floor. Like, not ready. No, I don't need a fourth. Okay. Not happening. You're never going to be ready to lead, but you still have to do it. It's good for you. It's going to grow your team. It's going to grow your business, right? Once someone comes on your team and you sponsor them, you do not get to shut the door. You don't get to be like, oh, I don't feel like leading today. That's like me saying, oh, I don't get to feed my kids today. No, like, no, I still got to feed. They annoy me. I still have to feed them. Okay. Like, they're constantly underneath me. I still have to feed them. Like, you still have to feed these people, even though you're like, oh, I don't really feel like it. No, you don't get to just turn off. That's not how this works. You do not shut that door once you open it. Okay. So I'm just going to throw that out there. Leadership, the importance of that is your vision. What do you want your team to look like? What do you want them to embody, right? You want them to be independent, Sensei consultants. You want all these things for your team, and everybody's going to be different to a certain extent. But that's important when it comes to your leadership and you cultivating that team, okay? Your leadership and your training, they go together. I was talking to my husband. We actually got in an argument because I was like, but training and leading aren't the same. And he's like, they're not, but like in the business that you're in, yes, they are. And I'm like, what? And he's like, here's the thing. He said, for you, if you're not training your people and you're not giving them the stuff, even if you decide like not to lead, he's like, that's not okay either. Eventually they're going to fall off if you just give them information and you walk away. He's like, you have to train them and then you have to lead them. You don't get to just throw information at them and walk away. And I was like, oh, I mean, okay. Because in my mind, I'm like, that's not like, you don't have to have, like, you can train someone without leading them. He's like, but not in your business. That's not going to work. He's like, so you need to cater it to your business. And I'm like, oh, that's really smart. Okay. And it does, it has to go together here. You can't just be one or the other. You can't just be someone's cheerleader and not give them any information. What you going to do with that? Like, what are they going to, that's not helpful, right? So that's really, really good. And then the thing is too, and this was his thing, he's like, but if you're telling someone and you're giving them X, Y, and Z to be successful, but you're not doing it, you're not being the leader, like Katrina said, you're not setting that foundation and being like, hello, I'm hitting the standard. Come on, let's all do it together. Let's hit the standard. Like, you're not going to get anywhere. And why do they have faith in you if you can't hit the standard? They're not going to have any faith in you. You can't lead someone if you're not hitting the standard and you're like, okay, well, good luck, everybody. like they're not going to lead you, or you're not leading them, and they're not building a trust relationship with you. Okay. So that goes back to what Chloe always says, right? Like you want people to want what you do. They need to want your job. They need to want your life so that they can do the same things too. Okay. And then the thing is, when you're setting that standard, you have to be able to make it moldable and teachable, right? It's got to be what Chloe says, replicatable. Like they have to be able to do it too, but you have to know what you're doing to be successful. To train, that's where your training comes in. You're showing them, this is what I do to be successful. This is what Whitney taught me. This is what I see Katrina doing. Let's all mold it together, and this is how we can all be successful together. That's your training. So obviously it's important, because if not, you're not going to have a business, and neither are they. So like the importance, it's very obvious. And then the thing is too, you guys, right? Like it's your job to help set your people up for success. Whether they take it or not, like Katrina said, that's on them. You cannot hold that on yourself and your heart. You can give someone everything, you guys, but like, if they don't take it, they don't take it. But it's your job to give them every single tool that they need, to shout them out when they do little things, big things, all the things. That's your job, okay? It's huge, it's huge. Like, and if they don't, move on to the next. Like I said, I'm not trying to be funny or mean, but if you ignore me 1 month, I'm definitely not coming back next month to try to do a coaching call with you. When the other people who really, really want it, when they're done, then I'll come back around. But until then, like I'm gonna focus on the people who really, really want it, because that's good leadership, and that's what I would want my leaders to do on their teams too. So that's the standard just for, okay, I'm doing this, but what do you want your leaders to do? What do you want to, okay? Because I have had it a lot of times where my people have been like, they're like, oh my gosh, Anya, you're such a great leader. And I'm like, I'm literally just doing what I was taught. That's it. Why? Because my leaders made it so I could do it again and do it again and do it again. And now I know that it's become a habit for me, and now I can teach my people to do that. So they can do it for their people, and they can do it for their people. It literally trickles down, you guys. And that's what builds a big business right there. Like you doing things that people can replicate, turn it into their own, teach their people, teach their people, teach their people. What is it, like you feed a fish or something, right? I don't know. Feed a fish, one fish, 5 fish. You know what I mean? Whatever. Feed a fish. If I teach you to fish, you feed yourself for a lifetime. Whatever. It's the same thing. That's what you're doing. You're like teaching people to go on board. I swear, it was a commercial. I remember it, but like I don't remember it, It's fine. Anyways, so, and then the importance of training too, like when you train your people, they feel prepared. If you don't feel prepared and you feel overwhelmed, you quit. Let's be real. Like you quit, you give up. You're like, I'm done. This is too hard. I don't want to do it. That's not what you want. That's not how you build a big business. That's not how you help train your people. You want them to know that even in the hard times, like be consistent. Be like Katrina said, right? Be transparent, be honest with them. I was very transparent when I was like, listen, my husband just left and I don't know what I'm doing with my life. I didn't have parties, but I posted daily. You guys. And then literally like after all that, I hit director. I didn't just like quit and just sit there. No, like I still posted. I wasn't doing as much. I did have to slow down, but I still posted. I was consistent. And I was very honest with my team. You're going to have hard times. Life's not easy. I'm going to lead you. I'm going to let you know it's not easy. So do what you have to do, but be consistent, right? And then you'll still be there. You'll still be there. So keeping your team's morale high is huge. And just remembering that you have to be team-minded, right? Leadership is important because you have to be team-minded. You cannot be selfish. You are not going to get to the top by yourself. So like you have to change your mindset when you're becoming a leader. You got to change it because it's not about you. It's literally about everybody else. Those love languages, right? Doing what's best for your team, even if it puts you back a second, like focusing on your business, but then doing what's best for them and pushing them so that they can feel fueled. Okay. And then this quote, I don't know who posted, I think it was Chloe, that you don't build a business, you build the people, and the people will build your business. That right there is why leadership's important. Like genuinely want their success because you're changing their life. Like seriously, be authentic, genuinely want their success, and remember that when you're setting that standard, you're fueling them to keep that standard up, and it's just going to trickle down to the next generation and the next generation. What is it? I don't even know 100%, but Whitney's not Chloe's direct, like that's not her sponsor. Chloe's not Whitney's sponsor, but she's her third generation. She led from the top. Whitney saw what she was doing. Then it started to trickle, right? Chloe's like, wait a minute, this girl's like way down there doing great things. Hold on. She pulled her up. Y'all, none of us would be where we are. Hello, that's huge. That's huge. And so I'll say this one last thing. I said you don't get to close the door when you sponsor someone. You don't. And if you happen to be a crappy leader, that's terrible. But I'm going to be very honest with you. Even if you're a crappy leader, you have some pretty bomb leaders who are going to reach out and help your people. And that's not saying that's what you should do. Absolutely not. Like, pull it together. Those are your people for a reason. Like, pull it together. It's your job, and they deserve the best from you because you're the one who opened that door. Hey, come underneath me. Like, leadership is so important. But just know that if you do have a tough week or you do have a tough time, like, you have some bomb leaders who are going to reach out and help your people. And that's you too. If you need help, you guys reach out. Don't just sit there and fall off the wagon. Like, reach out. We're leaders for a reason. We want to help you. We want to see you succeed. And you need to have that same mindset for your people. Okay? That's all I got. Leadership is important.
Awesome, as always. So I'm going to round it out here and talk about, first thing I'm going to talk about is leading from the front. So with leading from the front, what does that mean? You'll always hear me say this: leaders lead from the front, leaders show up. And we're talking about coaching this week. I'm about to say month, but this week. Hold on, let me see here. There we go. Okay, sorry. Make sure y'all mute yourselves. But sorry, we're talking about coaching this month, and we're talking about all of the things that leaders do to coach. Coaching can mean many different things, obviously, and I just wanted to point that out, that the things that Katrina and Anya and I have talked about all lead to coaching your people. Let me see. Okay, so leading from the front, what does that mean? That means you are leading from the front in many different ways. PRB, first and foremost, foundation of your business. You are in the top spots for PRB in your team as a leader. And if you're not, that's a problem. Okay. Same thing for sponsoring. If you're a leader, everyone on your team should not be sponsoring but you. You should still be sponsoring. You should still be up there with everyone else who is doing it. Yes. Do we have bad months? Yes. Do we have months where we have zero? Absolutely. But you should still be, like Anya and Katrina both mentioned, leading from the front is showing them what you're doing, showing them how you're working, not telling them, because we all know what we're supposed to do in this business, right? I mean, it's kind of common sense, but it's doing the hard things. It's having the hard conversations. It's taking the time to do those things that are going to make you a better leader. With your team page, and some of this is going to be a little repetitive, but that's okay because it's all very important. Team page, leading from the front. You don't have to be a leader to lead on your page. Like Katrina said, her rule in her head is don't just react, or don't just like to it. Don't love it. Comment on it. When you see that a post is not being answered, don't leave it unanswered. Even if you don't know the answer, say, I'm not sure what the answer is to that, but maybe you could find it here, or maybe you could do this. Making suggestions, responding to it in some way. It is not your director's job to answer every single post that's on that page. And honestly, once you have a good running team page, you should very rarely see your director on that page because their leaders are stepping up and leading from the front. Okay. Same thing for sharing what you're doing on the team page. If you're not sharing what you're doing with your team, then why are you on there? You don't have to be on your team page. That's the other thing. This team page is It's not something that the directors have to do. And I know I've said this many times, but it really needs to be embedded in not just everyone here tonight, but everyone in Cincy to know that team pages are not something that Cincy makes us do. It's our choice to make a team page for people to come together and share ideas and get better. And that's why on Simply Grace and Grit, you won't see negativity. And if you do, sometimes, if someone has an opinion and they're upset about something and it's not totally positive, I'll leave it there because everyone's entitled to their opinion. But when it starts to get negativity, when it starts breeding the negativity, that's when it's going to stop, because that's not the place to do it. So posting, sharing what you're doing, commenting on post. And I think Katrina said this already. When you're asked to do something, you do it. Even if it makes you uncomfortable, you do it. Because Katrina, and Anya are never going to ask you to do something that won't help you in the end. One of the first things that people have a problem with in their business is going live. If you're a leader and you don't go live on your personal, not your VIP page, your personal page, you need to start doing it once a week, at least. Because going live in your VIP group is great, but those are your customers. You're always wanting to build your customer base. So you're leading from the front by going on your personal page and showing all your friends what you do. I still have people who I've been friends with these past 3 years, almost 3 years that I've been with Cincy. I've been friends with it the whole time, and they're just now starting to order from me. Why? Because they know that I'm still consistently sharing Cincy. This wasn't a quick job, get rich, whatever. They're starting to see that this is real and this is what I do and this is who I am. So when you're asked to do anything, really, show up to a training. And I get it. We all have lives and we all are busy. But I promise you that you're not the busiest person on the team. And I don't even know who is. And honestly, I don't care who's the busiest, because I guarantee you one of the busiest is probably one of the top producers. I'm not going to put names out there, but it's because they make it important to them. They show up, they take the time to do it. And when you're asked to do something and you do it and you do something scary, share it with your team. Okay? Share that you're scared to do it. And that's something that I probably need to get better about, because I'm getting a little red, but you'll notice that every time I go live, I get red because I get nervous to go live. I get nervous to get on a Zoom. And I don't know why, because I know most of y'all and I do this all the time, but I still have that self-doubt. It's just who I am. But guess what? I still do it. I still do it once a week on my VIP page, on our page. And a lot of times I don't feel like doing it, guys. I don't feel like doing Tip Tuesday every Tuesday. Guess what? I'm there every Tuesday giving you a tip. And it's because, one, I want y'all to know that I will always be there and I will always do what I say I'm going to do, because I'm your leader and that's what leaders do. Okay. Being paid at title, leading from the front. Being paid at title is leading from the front. If you are not paid at title, you are leaving money on the table. If you didn't get paid at title this last month and you weren't happy and you complained to someone for not being paid at title, the only person you should be complaining to is yourself, because you were disappointed in your check, or you weren't happy because someone wasn't active, or whatever it may be. But I guarantee you one thing. It usually only takes 1 month not being paid at title. And I hope and pray that your thought is not, oh, poor pity me, but that's never going to happen again, because I'm going to work and I'm going to coach and I'm going to train and I'm going to lead from the front and I'm going to show and I'm going to do it. I'm going to show up. So being paid at title, what's that mean? Paid at title is a 500 PRV. Lead and above, you have to have 500 PRV. You should get into the habit of having 500 PRV by mid-month, by the 15th. That's the first goal. Once you start getting up into superstar consultant, star consultant areas, you need to be having your 500 by the 5th of the month. That's just what I have always gone by. That's personally something that I have gone through and have learned that that's what makes me consistently paid at title. Active frontline, that means someone that you have personally sponsored is active, 200 above in that current month. And it, depending on what title you are, depends on how many active frontline you need. But know what you need to be paid at title. Every title is different, and I get it. That compensation plan is a beast at first. When you first sign up to Zensi and you start looking at that, you're like, oh my, because it's a lot. It's a lot of numbers. It's a lot of acronyms. It's a lot. So what I always tell people is look at your current title and look at the next one up. That's it. Focus on the next title. Once you get there, focus on the next title. Even if you have to put a piece of paper, that's what I did. When I was Star Consultant, I put a piece of paper and I lined it up on Superstar Consultant, and that's what I knew I needed. Those numbers, that's it. Okay. So being paid at title, setting the standard, like they already talked about, setting the standard with your business and your time and your team page and how you run your business. Because if you're a leader and your team always sees that you're posting things that are out of compliance, I don't even know what to say about that. Because if you're a leader above, you need to know the standards, the Zensi standards that you signed when you signed up. I'm not gonna lie to you, I didn't read them, not gonna lie, but I know them now. And compliance is a whole nother beast because there's so many rules and so many specifics. But if you are consistently out of compliance as a leader, and that same thing, that positivity that we've set that's trickling down, that negativity, it breeds and it's a wildfire. It spreads. So know your Zensi standards. Setting the standard with how you're running your business. Setting the standard with what you're sharing. Share the things you want your team to share. It's funny because today I've always said stop sharing, like the graphics groups, God bless them. Sometimes they're awesome and they make amazing graphics. But don't share graphics all the time. And it's funny because Chloe said it today. I'm like, yes, she said it. I knew, like, it was just an aha moment because I was like, yes, finally. We don't share 20 million graphics every day. You share real life photos, you show your face using those products, and you share, because when you're constantly sharing these stock photos and graphics, that's spammy. And we're going to talk about that next week in Simply Grace and Grit. So systems for coaching. So I'm going to go move over a little bit more into coaching calls, because that's one of the best ways to obviously coach someone. You can call them whatever you want. I still call them coaching calls because that is the intent. You can call them one-on-ones. You can call them whatever makes you feel comfortable. But getting on the phone in a specific allotted time with someone to talk about their business and their business only. This is not to talk about Susie Q's cough she had last week. This is to talk about your business, what you need help in, what you're doing really well, what you need ideas for, what you need help for. So systems for the coaching, watch Coach the Coach program that our SSDs did. It's amazing. From there, you're going to find forms, and this is what I use, and I'm going to walk y'all through how I do a coaching call. But they have forms that you can use, Google Forms. And if you've never used them, I have a training on that I've shared multiple times on how to do a Google form. It is literally click and type. It's so easy, it's stupid. Okay. There are a few things that you may have to click a few times to find, but it's easy and it combines so much information and so nice and neat. It's so good. And then use that as your outline. So when I do a coaching call, the first thing I do, and once you have a team and a group, how should I say? So when you have a larger team, you're not just going to always coach your front line. You're not always just going to coach specifically who you sponsor. You're going to coach your downline too, because it's never a bad idea to have more than one coach. Okay. It's never a bad idea to get a different opinion from someone. It's never you may work better with other people. I don't know. It's just, you're still in the group. So anyone in your downline, you are open to train with, to talk to coach with. That is an open, that's an open road. Okay. If they have a leader, I will say this, if that person, say you want to do a coach call with your downline, if they have a leader that's not present, then work with them. If they have a leader that is present, and you may want to do this either way, just let them know, hey, I'm going to meet with Anya today or this week, or I'm going to reach out to her to talk to her because she's doing amazing and I want to know what she's doing. It's very simple. Don't make it awkward, because it's not awkward. Anybody in your downline, you are open to coach. So when I want to do a coaching call with someone, first of all, the people that I do a coaching call with are our top producers, because my time is valuable, my time, and so is yours. So when I'm talking about me, I want you to think the same way. My time is valuable. I am not spending time on people who don't know how to get 200 PRV. I'm not. It's not happening, because I have 150 people in my downline. And the girl that can't get 200 PRV is probably not even finished with her first things first checklist. She probably hasn't watched training. She hasn't probably watched Guide to Growth. She probably doesn't interact on our team page. She's probably never shared on it. Okay. So top producers, top PRV, top sponsors. And some people will say, oh, why don't you want to work with the people that like really need your help? And it's not that they don't, because people have said that to me. It's not that they don't need my help. It's that they don't want to help themselves. They want someone to do the work for them, is what I have found. Okay, exactly. If you're not investing time into your own business, if you're not taking the time to watch Guide to Growth, if you're not taking the time to watch trainings that I send you, if you're not taking the time to show up to trainings, and then you want to ask me a question a week later about exactly what we talked about, that's a problem. And I'm not going to go back and repeat that whole training for you when you can go and watch it yourself. Okay. So I'm meeting with top producers, and I'm going to reach out to them. I'm going to say, hey, I would love to have a coaching call with you just to talk about the business. That's it. I've been ignored. I've been left on red, and I've been said yes. I haven't gotten a no yet, but it's probably happen soon. Who knows? And I send them my form, or I send them, it's actually called Calendly, and it's free. So look this up if you're going to start doing coaching calls. And you can put your availability. So you pretty much organize this link, you click dates, you put what time you're available, you send them the link to everybody at once, and they sign up. In there is a form for their title. And depending on their title is what kind of questions they're asked. Obviously their name, and I think I can share what my forms look like in this group, just so y'all can see the kind of questions I've asked if I haven't done a coaching call with you. But it really is just to talk about your business. Where are you at in your PRV right now? Where are you at? Where were you at last month? I asked them to fill out their form the day before the call, because I want their numbers to be most up to date. And I usually plan my coaching calls like maybe a week out, maybe two, usually a week. So they're giving me the numbers that they're at right now. They're giving me the numbers they were at last month. They're telling me if they were paid at title last month. They're telling me if they sponsored anyone last month. Yes, I can go in my workstation and pull all that. But again, when I have 150 people and I'm picking people to work with, it's on them to put their information in there. If you don't fill that form out, we don't meet, because I don't have time to go in and pick information and look and figure out what she meant by this when that was not her PRV. It's not going to happen. I'm sorry. So that form helps me put an outline pretty much for our call. We talk about is her PRV an issue? No? Okay, let's go to sponsoring. Is there sponsoring an issue? No? Okay, let's go to coaching. Those are the three things that I will always talk about with you, because those are the three things that make a successful business, 3 legs of success. Another thing with my coaching call forms, if you have not watched Guide to Growth, I do not do a coaching call with you, because if you're not investing time in your business, I'm not going to invest 30 minutes into you when you're probably going to ask me a bunch of questions that's in that training. so we can further our conversations and put them more in depth and more specific on issues that you're having instead of generalized questions. Okay. So yes, I use that form. I use their answers. In there, I even ask, is there anything that you want to specifically talk about or need help with in your business? And that's what we talk about. What do you need help with? Where are you struggling? And if you're not struggling, you're not being honest with yourself, because those 3 legs of the stool are 3 legs for a reason, because the perfect business has 3 very equal legs. And I have never had an equal level stool in my business, because that's how this business works. One month you can have a bomb PRB month and have 0 sponsors. Okay. Very rarely are you going to find someone, I don't know of anyone, that consistently gets, the goal is 2K PRB and 2 sponsors a month. And if you're doing that, then you need to up that goal. And if you consistently are meeting that goal, you need to up that goal so you can, again, work on something else, if that makes sense. So if your goal is 2 right now and you're consistently getting 2, you need to up it to 4. And if you're not getting 4, then that's what we need to talk about. Okay, what changed when you're getting 2 a month and 4 a month? What's the difference? How many conversations you're having, how you're talking to them, when you're sending the messages, who you're, so there's a lot of specifics in that. Okay, so I use that form for my guide and my outline to talk to my people. And this is business only. Like I said, we are not talking the first 20 minutes about the weather or anything like that. I can get to know y'all on a more personal level through text, through voice text. The coaching call is a business call. So it needs to be, and I tell them, a time where you're have a quiet time. I don't have my kids running around in the background. Yes, they may come in and ask me a question, but they know I'm on a call. You need to go have quiet time as well. Okay. And that should be the same thing. Because if I'm taking the time to talk to you, and like I said, you need to be saying this to yourself too, then you need to take the time to respect my time. And if half the call I can't hear you because Susie Q's screaming in the background, then are we really getting anything done? Probably not. And keep to that time. So mine are 30 minutes long. They don't go over 30 minutes. I was going to say something about that, but I can't remember. So with coaching calls, I always do mine on the phone. Speakerphone, no Zoom. I don't do FaceTime. I don't do any of that. But if you might have to adapt. Okay. You might have to adapt to someone. If someone is ignoring you or saying no to you, it's probably because they're uncomfortable, because they're scared what you're going to say to them. They are having probably a WTF moment where they're like, I don't want any part of that, because it makes them uncomfortable. So offer them, if they'd rather do a Zoom. So if they want to be shown something on the workstation, or they want to see how to run a report or something like that, then maybe you want to do a Zoom. Like I said, I do all mine on the phone. I've never had anybody else request anything else, but one of the other leaders talked about doing a coaching call through text and saying, give me 15 minutes of your time through text and we'll talk about everything. I personally have never done that, but that's something that you could offer. Voice text them. Let them text you back, but you voice text them. Okay. So while you're going through all of this coaching, hold on 1 minute. Does that mess with the screen with y'all or no? Okay, hold on 1 minute. Okay, so through all of this coaching, the last thing I was going to talk about is your time as a consultant, as a person, as a mom, as a dog mom, as a sister. Your time is just as precious as my time, as Anya's time, as Katrina's time, as your 4th generation or generation's time. It's just as important. So with that and all of this coaching and all of this that we're telling you, that we're like, give, you're going to constantly be giving to people. And it's fun at first and it's empowering. Like I will say, every coaching call I do, I love it because guess what? It lights my fire. It lights my fire. Every single coaching call I have is with someone who is trying to change their life, who is trying to do better in this business, who gives me fuel. Okay. So I appreciate that as well. Okay. I appreciate that you're taking the time to meet with me as well. And you should too with your people. And that's why I'm telling you this. But with all that, you're going to be constantly giving to people and it's going to be exhausting. You're going to hit a wall one day and you're going to be like, I need a damn minute. Give me a minute. So that's where your self-care comes in, where you're giving yourself time to do the things that make you happy. And I'll just talk about this really briefly, but find something simple that gives you a moment of like not thinking about the business, not thinking about what you need to do, not thinking about or worrying about why she didn't get paid at Title like last month. And it doesn't have to be going to spend $100 at TJ Maxx. I mean, if that's your thing, do it. But my thing, honestly, is Pinterest. Okay. So every night before I go to bed, and Pinterest has an algorithm too, so they know what I pin and they bring up things that I pin that are similar. And I will save positive quotes. I'll save obviously recipes. I'll save inspirational things, and I'll go through and it just, I guess, bring me at peace. It gives me a moment to focus on something else for a little bit. It could be taking a bath. It could be going for a walk. It could be exercising. It could be so many different things that don't cost anything, don't take a lot of time. Hello. And I also I probably went over a month and a half without watching TV because I was on the go so much. So one night I was like, I'm watching a show tonight. I'm sitting my butt on the couch and I'm not doing anything. Now I know that's not probably very common and like where you have to make yourself sit down and watch TV. I get that. But that was my thing because I love my job and it doesn't feel like work, but then it gets to the point where it's a lot. Okay. So make sure you're taking time for yourself too, as a leader, because you cannot pour from an empty cup, period. If you are empty, your team will see it. Okay. They'll see that something's up. They'll see that you're not showing up. They'll see that something's wrong. So be intentional with that and taking time for yourself while you're coaching these people. And I think that's all I had. Oh, yes. Sorry. What time is it? No, we're not too bad. Do we have any questions? I put the chat down, so I haven't been reading anything. Y'all can, Anya, Katrina, let me know. But one thing that Anya mentioned about Chloe with my business was my business changed when Chloe reached out to me. And I will be very upfront with that. My sponsor had a lot of stuff going on in her life when I joined, and I don't blame her for any absence that she had. And we have a very open relationship about that. But my business changed when Chloe reached out to me because of a simple text that just said, tell me what you're doing because you're doing something right. And you can be that for someone. That's like the biggest thing I learned from that is that you can, even if you have one person or two people, reach out to them, build a relationship with them. Because when I started a relationship, a friendship with Chloe, that is when my business changed because she introduced me to a whole side of life that I didn't know was possible. And it's not anybody's fault, but I'm so thankful that she reached out and stepped up and probably had an awkward moment where she had to reach out to me. And now I talk to her every single day. Every single day I'll talk to her about something with the business or something personal. And it's because she reached out, 6 months ago, probably longer than that, just to say that she saw me. Okay. And I started telling her what I was doing and she started giving me advice. And then we started doing coaching calls. Okay. We started doing coaching calls, and that's when it just exploded because I had a source of someone who was listening to me with my issues and helping. And that's it. That's it, guys. It's not that she has a magical wand or that she's special, but she's not magical. Like there's nothing that she does that we can't do. Okay. She was there to help me, period. That's it. Was there any questions, Katrina, Anya?
Yeah, somebody asked how we keep our coaching calls like organized, like leadership wise.
Okay.
And I had mentioned that like I print out the coaching forms and put them in a binder and everybody has a tab.
Yep.
I don't know if you wanted to share how you keep your stuff organized.
Yes. So I used to do the same thing, but I'm trying to get rid of all paper and pencil. So I started, and I can share this with y'all. I shared it on, well, we're having some technical difficulties with it, but I have a Excel sheet that has my front line in it. I have all the information about them, their name, their start date, if they got shooting star, if they got what level of sensational start they earned. I have notes on them while they joined, how they're feeling about their business. And then I have columns for each coaching call that we do. Coaching call 1, coaching call 2, coaching call 3. And I put notes for my coaching call in there. I do print their form, and that's what I take notes on when I coach them. But then once that call is done, I put my notes into the Excel sheet, and that's how I save it. Same thing for my downline. It's on the second page of the sheets. I put their name, I put their sponsor, and I put, again, our notes from the call, just so they're all in one spot. I also put notes on some of my downline too. So like when Laura and Hannah spoke at the last meeting, I put that under their notes, just so I knew who spoke when. I have found that it to be very, very helpful. It's something that I update weekly as far as like shooting star, and if something's changed in their business, I'll take notes on my phone and then transport it to there. The other thing that made me think of that was with coaching calls, when I coach someone, I don't coach them every month. Okay. And this is something I learned from Chloe, because at the end of a coaching call, I give you 3 things to focus on in your business. I give you 3 things that I think that you need to change or do in your business. And I'm very clear that it is up to you to get back to me about updating that. Okay. I'm not going to follow up with you in a month and say, how are those things going? I mean, I might, if I think about it, I might, but that's not my position. I don't think. I think you should be coming back to me and telling me how you're doing it, how it's working, and how it's going. So from those 3 points, that will take a good month to work on. You're not going to get all those 3 done in a day. And if you are, then you're not doing it right. You're not really putting the time in to make a change in your business, because making a change is planning it, doing it, and seeing if it's going to work. It's not just planning or doing it. Okay. So you have to give it time to see what's going to work for you. So like if I say you need a follow-up system, okay, you're going to find a follow-up system, but it may not work for you right away, or you need to see if you like it. Like I want to know those things. So I personally don't coach anyone more than, like if I coach you this month, I probably won't coach you again until November unless you hit director, and then I'll coach you that month. But that's just, again, it gives you time, and it gives me time to work on the things and focus on things. And no, it's definitely not a bad thing if you don't get a coaching call, if it's a bad thing. No, you don't need a coaching call every month. It's not a bad thing if you don't get a coaching call, but you should be doing a coaching call with someone in your upline at some point within a 3-month period, if that makes sense. Okay. And if you're not, then maybe you need to reach out to them one-on-one and not necessarily ask for a coaching call, but ask for help in a specific area, AKA PRV's first thing. Okay. Oh yeah. Repeat call. No, it's not necessary. You don't need it. But even if you're doing really well in your business, I will still want to meet with you probably every 3 to 4 months, because we still need to check in, and accountability is real. Gary, if you have a question, just put it in the chat. Sorry, I'm going to go scroll back up and see.
It's right there. She wants to know, how did your business change? What aspects of it changed? You said when she started coaching you, and you said everything changed.
Yes. So there was a lot. I was very inconsistent with my business. I felt like I didn't have systems at all. I didn't know what a system was. I didn't even know what that meant. And I remember one of our first coaching calls, she was like 2K PRB and 2 sponsors a month. What are you laughing at? And I was like, oh, okay. But I was like, that's a joke. And I told her that. I was like, that's not going to happen. I'm not going to get 2K PRB and 2 sponsors a month. I can't even know. And honestly, what changed was the consistency, the empowerment, the realization that I could do it. My husband is my biggest supporter, and he always says, you can do whatever you put your mind to. But Chloe gave me goals to reach for. So specifics. And I never would have thought 2K would be a thing, but now consistently for 8 months, I've gotten 2K PRB every single month, at least, and a few 3K months. And that's because I put in systems. I did what she told me. And again, anything she asked me to do, I did. Anything she asked me to try, I did. And there were things she gave me that didn't work for me, but I tried it because she's told me to, and she knows what she's doing. Okay. So things change in your business when you start surrounding yourself with different people too. Okay. When you have someone, not that just believes in you, but someone that is pushing you to do more. Okay. That's another thing. She pushed me. She was like, this is not enough. This is not enough. You need to do this, and not in an ugly way. And that's the thing, people, Chloe is very direct, and so am I to a certain extent, but it's just believing that you can do it. Okay. And we're kind of off track now. So go ahead, Katrina.
So sorry. So I got her question. She said, what's your personal preference for PRV before you focus on your team? I feel like my biggest game changer may be to build up my team and gift PRV for the party they join in.
Do you want to answer that? I want me to answer that. I'm sorry.
I mean, I know me personally, I don't work with my team, hands down until I hit my PRV goal for the month. Mm-hmm. So your goal as a leader should be that 500, but that's not my goal. My goal is 1,500, 2K every month. And so if I'm not hitting that, guess what? We're probably not doing coaching calls that month because something's going on in my business that I need to get situated. But that's just me personally. It's a personal, like you said in your question, it's a personal preference. So whenever you feel comfortable with your PRV, that's when you move to the next leg in the stool.
Yep. So as far as you doing coaching calls, exactly, you should be on track to meet your goal for the month. And that's why you don't ever do coaching calls in the first few weeks of the month either, because you should already have your PRV pretty much set and planned away before you start coaching somebody else how to do it. As far as what they should be at, 500 PRV minimum for sure.
And that's why front loading is so important, you guys.
Yep.
I didn't front load this month, and it has hurt me really bad this month. I'm fixing it, but front loading is super important, and it's not just front loading parties and PRV, it's front loading sponsoring too, like Anya touched on last week, right? Front loading is everything because you don't have to worry about where anything is coming from if you already know that it's set. You shouldn't even be booking parties right now for August or for September. You should be booking parties for October right now. Have that stuff, have it done and ready so you don't have to worry about it. Yep. I did want to say thank you to everybody that was here.